Okay, Sarah Brummitt, thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Well, thanks for having me, Paul.
It's my pleasure. So we are here at Hope Pregnancy Center in Pontiac, Illinois. This is a big place. It's a really nice place. But tell me, what exactly is it that this place does? What are you guys about here?
Okay. Well, Hope Pregnancy Center is here to serve area families. We serve all of Livingston County, and our purpose is to come alongside young women who have found out that they are expecting a baby, and it probably is an unexpected pregnancy. And we offer educational program for the young girls. We also offer material items, community resources to walk alongside them so we can set them up to win with this new life that they're carrying.
That is awesome. You're just like the friend that they need. You're giving them all the support they need.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing. And I'm just curious, do most of the women that come through here, are they young women or are they in their 20s, 30s?
Sure.
Do you notice like a pattern? Do they fall in a certain age range?
Yes. Great question. So the youngest is 15, and we serve up to, about 35 years of age. The bulk of the clients range about 20 to 29. That's usually what we find. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they can be married, and they could be single. They could have a boyfriend. It's kind of across the board in that too.
Got it. So you don't discriminate. You don't care where they come from. You don't care exactly how old they are. You're just here to help with new mothers, or maybe not even new, but just mothers that weren't expecting originally.
Sure.
And they have the surprise,
Right. Exactly. So I want to elaborate a little bit more. And when I'm talking with you or talking with a church or another organization, and they say, what's Hope Pregnancy Center? It's easy to say, well, we're a nonprofit organization. That serves Livingston County. We do provide items such as diapers and wipes and strollers and car seats and that type of thing to the clients. So we offer the education of anything from pregnancy to newborn to toddler to relationships to even life skills.
Jeez.
And so we have all of that we can tell them. Now, if I'm talking to a young girl who calls in or walks in our door and says, what can you guys do for me? Then it's a whole different answer, because we are here to walk alongside them, meet them where they are and give them the support, that they need. They come in, there's a lot of questions, and there's maybe fear and anxiety. All of a sudden, they call and say, I want to have a pregnancy test, Well, when she gets in our center, we find out she's had 3, 4, 5 pregnancy tests at home, but she wants to come here and have one, just to, those can't be right at home. I want to come here and so we offer those free pregnancy tests to her. And the main thing is to be a listening ear. To meet her where she's at. So if she hasn't been pregnant before, we want to put her into the program that talks about pregnancy and what to expect with pregnancy and even into labor and delivery. If she's had a couple children, maybe she doesn't really need to know about pregnancy and a newborn, but she's trying to, deal with a toddler, and she'll be introducing a new baby to a toddler. Maybe it's even, she's her new partner, fiance, husband, whatever. Maybe they're from a blended family. And so she has some children, he has some children. Now they are expecting their child. And so we have things to kind of help with that, help with those dynamics and set them up to win.
So you're not like a cookie cutter program. You're not one size fits all. You're going to give you're going to adhere to their specific situation and give the tender love and care that they need and the support that they need for their specific situation and life circumstance.
Right. A few years ago, we painted the center, and on our front wall, when you walk into the waiting room, the first thing they see when they open the door are the words, "Just breathe." Then come in and they're in a safe place with unconditional love. And they can just take a breath. And for 1 hour, they don't have to worry about everything that's going on around them. For 1 hour, they can sit with a client coach one-on-one who is just going to say, okay, this is where we are, whether we talk about options, which there are options to discuss, obviously. Maybe it's just support. Maybe, she doesn't really have family around here. And she moved into the area and doesn't know anybody. And so just to have a place where she can come for support and somebody just encouraging her, that type of thing. Yeah. And even into the lot heavier and deeper issues where a girl has really been through things that she shouldn't have been through. Really hard situations at times. But she can come in and she can be embraced, and loved. And we like to speak value into the girls. They are valuable. Jesus.
Infinitely valuable.
Infinitely. Yeah. I mean, we are valuable to God. Some people just haven't heard that before.
We could go so many places with what you just said. It was beautiful. I want to talk about, though, you said, you mentioned that there's a lot of nervousness, there's a lot of fear in these women that come in who are expecting for the first time, and they weren't planning on being expecting.
Correct.
So that's an experience that I really probably can't grasp that well, because I'm a man, I'm not married, I've never had a kid or anything like that.
Right.
What's that experience like for these girls? Because I imagine it feels like the world's ending, like their lives are ending sometimes, right? We are brought to you by Fairbury Furniture. Fairbury Furniture is a delightful furniture store in downtown Fairbury that sells all of the most stylish and comfortable furniture from all of your favorite brands at excellent prices. They're staffed with great people and everyone in this area loves them. So when you decide it's time to get some quality furniture, head nowhere else but the one and only Fairbury Furniture in downtown Fairbury, Illinois. Right? Like they're just like, I was in no way expecting a kid at, maybe 15 even. Right. I'm 19 years old. I'm in college. I wasn't expecting this. What kind of emotions do these girls feel, and do they show when they come in here?
Yeah, they show emotion, and you can sense it. You can see it on their demeanor, being whether they're a little tense or maybe real quiet, maybe full of tears. It just depends. The age makes a difference too.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's somebody that is still in high school, that's younger.
It's just like apocalyptic maybe.
It is, and maybe she tells the boyfriend that, she took a pregnancy test and she's pregnant, and he doesn't want a thing to do with it, and then on top of that, she's scared to tell her parents, right?
Oh my gosh.
And so you kind of, you listen, just let them talk, and then see ways of how we can kind of help minimize some of the fears, even offering to have, the parents come in and sit, and we can be there, when they share with their parents that they're expecting, or if the boyfriend is, well, he might hang around or he might not, inviting him in with her to, see how we can help them. Help their relationship, put a male figure into his life, that can be a listening ear and give him some wisdom too. The people that come into the center, the girls that come in, they really want to keep their babies.
Yeah.
Some centers across the nation, they're in bigger cities perhaps, and they just, they deal with women that are coming in and they don't think they want to have their baby, so they're at that critical decision-making process. And what we see here in Livingston County, I'm not saying that there aren't girls that are considering abortion or have had abortions, but what we see walking in our door is the circumstance surrounding them maybe putting the pressure on that they feel they're vulnerable towards making that decision of an abortion. I have to drop out of school, or I don't have a job, I don't have a car. Right now, I don't even have a place to live, those things. And so we can come in with community resources as needed to help them look towards housing, help them with job applications, or to get their GED, and help them study for that. But try to minimize, fears. We all have fears about things, right?
Yeah.
And we sit and chat with somebody. A lot of times it's just talking it out. They didn't really come up with an answer, but just kind of talking that out kind of helps you feel a little bit better about things. And then I think when the girls can see, hey, these people, one, they care. They're not just saying it. It's not just printed on the website or whatever. They truly care. And, okay, I can learn how to do this. I've never held a baby. Maybe she didn't babysit in her whole life. There are some girls that didn't babysit, so they don't know how to tend to children. And even just, we can show you how to put a diaper on. Just as what we think is simple as that, but that can be overwhelming, right? And, and even into bigger things, like you said, going to college. Oh, how am I going to go to college? I have a little baby. Okay, well, let's back up here a little bit and let's see what options are, and, maybe it's an option of not going right into a 4-year college, but doing a community college and online courses, just kind of talking through some of their big fears that when it gets down to it, it's really not the baby. It's just, okay, this is a new situation and I'm not sure how to walk into it and through it.
So you give them the information they need to consider and think about in order so that they can make the best decision for themselves and their unique situation, right?
Exactly. So we have options counseling. There's 3 options, when you're pregnant. So you have an option to carry, the baby and parent. And you have the option to carry the baby and put the baby in the arms of a loving family for adoption. And then you have the option to terminate. So we can make sure the girls are educated in all 3 of those areas. We don't make the decision for them. Of course, we want them to choose life.
Right.
God formed that baby in her womb. And he knows that baby. And so we want them to choose life, and we want for the girl to have abundant life. And we can do that by educating her and putting the right resources in her hand and just walking alongside of her, loving her.
Yes. And we're going into a topic that is probably one of the topics that I am most passionate about in my life. And it's abortion. And first of all, I want to lead with, you should never. Some people are very, very pro-life, but at no point should you ever demonize any woman who's considered or had an abortion. They thought it was the best thing they could do. I know women who have had some, and they're still some of the most incredible women that I know.
Right.
They're not bad people, but I'm passionate about the issue because it's not a religious issue only. It's you don't necessarily have to be religious to be pro-life. Right. It's a big thing. If you are religious, if you're a Christian, chances are you're going to be pro-life, just logically.
Right.
But I personally, and I won't make you say anything that's too controversial or anything.
Sure.
You're kind of a public figure, but I'll say whatever I want. And I've had moments in my life, as a lot of people do, where I was completely non-religious, didn't believe in God. And even then, when I looked at the issue of abortion, logically, I was like, you can't be for this. It is in no way ethically permissible because an innocent life is being ended at the hands of another person. That's not okay. And you can't even argue that it's not a life. At the moment of conception, it is from the moment of conception until natural death. These are just stages of development in between.
That's right.
You grow ears, eyes, hair, you outgrow the womb. Yeah. And then you outgrow your clothes, you hit puberty, then you shrink, your knees ache and stuff. It's just, these are all arbitrary stages on the lifespan, I guess.
Right.
So, sorry, I'm really...
no.
The topic of abortion is something that's really important to me, and I kind of love talking about it. But my question to you is, this is a Christian organization, correct?
Correct.
And it's no secret?
No secret.
So how does...
And I hope it shines out.
Yes. Yeah, and it does.
I think when people walk in, there's a peace in this building. I think there's not heaviness, there's a peace when you walk in. And one of our clients, and I don't want to get too far off of your question, but I do want to share this. One of our clients had been in for a while, and she actually was starting to get interested in the Bible and wanting to, get to know God a little bit more. And we actually started her not with a Bible, but with a Jesus storybook, children's Bible. Because she didn't know the story of Noah and Adam and Eve and Moses and, David, and she didn't know those stories, and so just to start there with her and show her that. But her one question that just echoed in our hearts was, why are you guys so kind? Why do you care? I've never met people like that.
Yeah.
And, oh, girl, you just opened the door. Because we care, because we love you, and we have a God who loves us, and we want you to know him. So when you talk about abortion, there are, obviously thoughts all over the place, I mean, especially now this past year, it's been a humongous topic politically. So Paul, you mentioned about, a woman coming in here and who's maybe considering an abortion or has had an abortion, and not looking at her differently. How dare we look at somebody that has made a decision that, one, we don't even know what the background was. There's sex trafficking is real.
You betcha.
Sex trafficking is real. And with that, these girls that are captured in that don't have a choice. Their captors are taking them for abortions, and Planned Parenthoods are keeping that quiet. And
isn't that insane to you?
Yes,
Does that that they keep that a secret and they're like, we can do this and we don't have to tell anybody?
Correct.
That gets me fired up.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
Yeah, it does. And so that's one situation. You have another situation where maybe the girl's at home and the mom tells her, if you keep this baby, you're on your own.
Wow.
Okay, now to a young girl, that's huge. We even had a client for that instance. Everything I share with you is an instance that we have had. Okay, we're not making it up. Wow. So she gets pregnant and her mom wants her to have an abortion, and she decides, no, she's not going to abort this baby.
The guts that takes.
The guts,
wow.
Because mom followed through, and mom did kick her out of the home. Okay?
That's been a thing that you've actually dealt with here?
That's been a thing, So then next thing we know, she's back in the center, and she has a little, 6-month-old baby, and guess what? She's pregnant again. Okay, well, now what, mom's going to have nothing to do with her again and all this, and now this girl is pregnant with one baby. She's pregnant with twins.
Whoa, man, it's like a TV show. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but
wow.
You know what? She chose life for those twins. She knew that where she was at with school, with a 6-month-old, she didn't feel like she could be the mother to the children that she wanted for them. Mm-hmm. And those children are in a loving home.
So she gave them up for
adoption. She gave life, yeah. That's a beautiful thing. What amazing love is that? Because you know what? We are all adopted by Christ. We are adopted into his family when we accept him into our life. Mm-hmm. And so I love that. Getting back to the abortion side of things, one of the things that I tell new clients that come into the center, I try my best to be able to visit with them and let them know me, right? And we have client coaches and other staff members that are with the clients more often, but I try with their first appointment to make a face-to-face with them. And even beyond that, it's important to me to at least say hi to them, either when they come or when they leave. That's so important to my heart, that they know that they're cared for by everyone here at the center,
We are brought to you by Gomez Lawn Care. Your lawn is a public display of your character. It's the last thing that you see on your way out of your home and the first thing that guests see on their way in. If you have a patchy, brown, weed-infested yard, you will be perceived as irresponsible, a procrastinator, and a person of low character. Sorry to be so harsh, but that's the truth. But if your lawn is vibrant, tailored, and healthy, then you will be correctly perceived as the responsible, respectable, and reliable person that I know you are. The thing is, having a lawn like that is a massive time commitment and requires a lot of skill, more than what most busy people like yourself can manage. This is precisely why you need to hire the professionals over at Gomez Lawn Care to manage your lawn for you. Gomez Lawn Care offers high-quality services such as lawn seeding, lawn rolling, core aeration, after-storm cleanup, hedge trimming, dog waste removal, and of course weekly and bi-weekly mowing. The yards they manage look great and they are extremely reliable and affordable. To hire their services or just to learn more, you can text LAWN to 309-212-8134 or send them a message on Facebook at Gomez Lawn Care or visit their website at gomezlc.com and book them in seconds. Everyone in the Prairie Central area loves them and so will you. Gomez Lawn Care, high quality satisfaction.
So I like to visit with a new client that's coming in. And here's what I share with her, Paul. I haven't been in her situation. I didn't find myself facing an unexpected pregnancy and not married. I haven't been I wasn't kicked out of my home. I come from a home with my mom and dad, married and for years, and grandparents and, a big family surrounding me, where some of the girls are coming in from broken families, right? And, so I didn't get pregnant out of marriage. I didn't have an abortion. Maybe I didn't do some of the other things that they're kind of facing the consequences of. But I let them know that I've done things in my life that have brought shame and regret. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Oh, you are fine. Take your time. I appreciate you going deep for this, as will the listeners.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing when this happens. It really is.
Yeah. So anyway, you gotta be vulnerable and you gotta be real if you're gonna impact somebody's life, right?
Yep.
And so I tell them, I haven't done those things, but have I made bad choices in my life? The thing that's different for me, for where my life has been, is I've had people around me that maybe be that tough love and say, you can do better than that. Mm-hmm. I know that you can make better choices. I know that you're going to have to deal with these circumstances, but you're going to step up to the next level. I believe in you and I'm going to walk with you through it. So that's what I had. So when I talk with the girls and can share that with them and say, don't find myself in your situation. I haven't been in your situation, but I have had the feeling of, like I said, shame and regret, or fear and anxiety of, now what do I do? Or whether it's because now you have to share with somebody the truth of what's happening. That's big. That's a big step for the girls.
So heavy. Yeah.
But with that, I've had people essentially that have come by me and said, we're going to set you up to win. So when I came to the pregnancy center, that was one of the things on my heart is, and we even have volunteers that have had abortions. Mm-hmm. I know
you
people
have volunteers like that have worked
that
here?
have had abortions that worked here.
That's very interesting.
But here's what's so neat about it is, because they got God in their life, and it's God who brings healing to us, right? No matter the circumstances. And so they went from their own life of feeling, all those negative emotions or regrets, all the physical and emotional, spiritual feelings that you have to go through when you have an abortion. But then they found a freedom and forgiveness in Christ. And through that, it's like the Bible says, he makes beauty from ashes. Mm-hmm. And so what better person to be able to sit down with somebody and say, girl, I know where you are because I've been there. But I want to tell you that decision to abort that baby does not define you. Mm-hmm. Your decision walking in the door here at Hope Pregnancy Center, that defines you. Looking for hope, looking for somebody to walk with you through healing, through the healing process of post-abortive. Somebody that loves you and speaks value into your life. And with that, we're setting them up to win. Love that. I love that, to be able to set somebody up to win. Not even here. I like to do that in my own personal life, outside of Hope Pregnancy Center, is from the Bible, from the book of Ruth. Was there 4 chapters in the book of Ruth, and Ruth and Naomi. Naomi's the mother-in-law. Ruth is the daughter-in-law, and Naomi has lost her husband and lost her sons, and she has these 2 daughter-in-laws, and she says to Ruth, go, I don't have anything more to offer you. She was in such despair and brokenness. Just go and live your life, And here's what Ruth did. She said, no, I'm not leaving you. I'm by your side. And that portion of it speaks into Hope Pregnancy Center, because they can walk. Somebody else maybe told them to go, get out of the house, get out of our relationship, whatever. Hope Pregnancy Center is like, come, and we're by you, we don't walk by you in this. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. Woohoo, to 4 grandbabies. Everybody here is a mom or a grandma or an aunt or a big sister, and so we know how to pour into that, how to say, hey man, don't do that. I'd advise against that, how to just prepare yourself to be a better person in a relationship with somebody. Take away the selfishness that we're all prone to. Instead of what can I get out of this relationship, but what can I give in this relationship? So that story of Ruth and Naomi, beautiful, beautiful story. And in the end, Ruth and Boaz get married. Ruth has a little baby. And the cool thing is people were just shouting with joy, praise to God that Naomi has a son. Well, Ruth had the baby, but Naomi was such an intricate part in Ruth's life. And Ruth and hers, and here's this little baby, that's what it's all about here at the Pregnancy Center. We can't say that because I didn't have an abortion that I'm better than somebody that did. No way.
No way.
No
right.
way.
No way.
I just want to open my arms and bring them to me, and love them, because that's what Jesus would do,
Just like Jesus and the leper. They used to kick lepers out of town, and one was strolling along, found Jesus, and Jesus came. I think he hugged him. I don't know if he kissed him, something like that. But he healed him anyways, and he embraced him. Embraced him.
How dare we look upon somebody else and the mistakes, the sins, the bad choices, whatever they made? How dare we look on them and judge them?
Right, we committed sins too.
How dare? Yeah. And what does the Bible do? What is the whole life of Christ throughout the Bible? Is example after example after example. And what does it tell us to do? Love one another. Love God, love one another.
Absolutely.
Be a good Samaritan. With nothing that you're getting out of it for yourself, but what you're pouring into for somebody else to set them up to win.
Seek not to be consoled, but to console.
Yes.
Seek not to be heard, but to hear. And I forget, that's like a prayer of St. Francis or something.
Okay.
But you're speaking all this. I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah. I know people, I have friends who were themselves unwanted or unexpected pregnancies. And now their parents are like, these are some incredible people. It's incredible how heavy and negative finding out that you have an unexpected pregnancy can be at the time, but it's amazing what beautiful things can come from that pregnancy. I mean, these are incredible people that I know. And one, I'll say a name even because I had her on the show and she talked about it.
Okay.
Kaylee Cotter is one of the most devout Christians, knowledgeable Christians, incredible people that I know. And she was an unexpected pregnancy, and her parents were in high school when they had her. And she, look at her, she's incredible. It's just like... the news of an unexpected pregnancy can be so crazy, and I'm sure the people that come in here with that news, who have just gotten that news, they are distraught. Right. But it's, that goes away eventually. And I hope that they can understand that. It's hard to make them understand that, I'm sure, in the moment. Sure. But
Sure. But like you said, is you kind of talk with them, let them talk, and kind of show them how we can help, show them other resources in the community that can help. That really minimizes a lot of the fears, and it offsets some of the anxiety you know, and then we just get them right in the program. And, you know, they get to know us. I mean, we're about relationship building. And so let me walk you through, if it's okay, I'll walk you through an appointment. So when a girl comes in, okay, after the initial intake where we, you know, got all of her basic information right, and we found out first pregnancy or, you know, third pregnancy, whatever, then we know where we assess all of that information, and we know where to put her into the program, right? There's no need to have somebody who's had, you know, this is her third baby, and for her, there's no need to put her into the pregnancy lessons, right? And so we gauge and know by assessing them where to plug them into the center or into the program. So then they come in, we set up an appointment, they're an hour long. And they come in, they sit one-on-one with a client coach, and they watch a video on the topic of what they're wanting to learn. And it's, I don't know, about 15, 20-minute video maybe. And while they're watching a video, they have a worksheet that's asking them questions, you know, as they're going through the video. And then after that's done, we have a homework sheet, you know. And then the client coach will talk with the girl, you know, about the lesson, obviously, but then how to apply it, you know, or what did you learn from it? What do you have questions on it? Maybe to set up goals, you know, and not only set up goals, but accomplish goals. You know, and those goals could be as simple as making a week's long meal plan, you know, that she didn't really know how to do, wasn't sure how to do it, or a chore plan, you know, something like that. What day am I going to do laundry? What day am I going to dust? You know, that type of thing. But walking her through that, and then, you know, she comes back the next week and says, we had meals, you know, all week long, and you know, the kids loved it or whatever. And I got more accomplished because I kind of knew what the week was going to be like, you know. Some things like that can seem so heavy and overwhelming, but when you have a one-on-one with somebody saying, okay, well, let's do this, you know, and they do it and put it in, you know, apply it, then you just see that change, you know, you just see them growing, I guess you'd say, you know. So after they're done with their lesson, they've chatted, I can back up a little bit, because maybe they come in and they don't want to do a lesson. They're just like, you know what, I need to talk.
Right.
Hey, that's what we're here for, you know? And so we'll go that route, right? We love to pray with the girls if they're open for that. You know, we obviously know what their needs are, or, you know, what they have coming up for the week. Maybe there's doctor's appointments. Maybe there's a job interview. Maybe there's a test on an exam or something.
Real quick, it's not mandatory that they partake in religious activities like praying, though, is it?
No.
Like someone could come in totally non-religious, and you will help them just the same,
right? Oh, for sure,
And the way you help them doesn't necessarily contain religious practices, right?
No.
It's not necessary that you pray with them and stuff like that.
No, it's not at all. I mean, it's an educational program for whomever.
Got it.
But what we want to do is we want to offer, if they would like us to pray with them or for them. Some girls say, no, I'm okay or whatever. That doesn't mean that we can't pray for them later.
Yeah.
You know,
right,
we know what their needs are. We know what they're facing. So as a staff, as volunteers, our prayer warriors that are signed up with us to pray on a weekly basis, you know, we can still pray for them. But as they get to know in the relationship, they say, well, would you pray for this? You know, I got this coming up, or, you know, I appreciate you praying for that. I'm so tired. You know, can you pray that I can get some sleep? And so it might start off as little, maybe a little shallow of forgive me on that. I don't want that to sound bad as a shallow prayer request. I don't mean it that way, but you know what I mean? It's not something real deep, you know, of a situation. Maybe it's just, will you just pray that I can get rest, you know? But we want to do that. You know, and then that builds, you know.
We are brought to you by Greg Kurtenbach's State Farm office in Fairbury, Illinois. Greg Kurtenbach is an insurance agent for State Farm, an insurance company. Here's a quick Insurance 101 lesson. If your property gets damaged or destroyed, an insurance provider like State Farm will give you the financial means to replace it. If something happens to you, like you get injured or you die, they'll provide sufficient finances to your family so that they can continue to live with financial peace of mind. It's a simple and beautiful concept. In exchange for this insurance coverage, as they call it, you'll pay a small monthly fee called a premium to the insurance company. That's how insurance works in a nutshell. On that note, State Farm has been the #1 ranked auto and home insurance provider in America for decades. And Greg's office in specific is especially great, and I mean really, really great. And I'm not just saying that either. Greg's Fairbury office has been reviewed 61 times on Google, and all 61 of those reviews are 5 stars. That's pretty darn impressive. Why is that though? It's because Greg and his exceptional coworkers are all so kind, so knowledgeable, and honestly, they're just great people and they make a great team. When you call his office or visit them on site, you'll want to rate them 5 stars as well. When it comes to insurance, you really ought to have an exceptional agent like Greg, one who will meet you at any time, answer any and all of your questions, treat you with respect and dignity, and keep you informed on all matters regarding your insurance. If this all sounds appealing to you, then Greg Kurtenbach and company are the team for you. Give them a call at 815-692-3673 or visit them at 20 Aspen Court in Fairbury, Illinois, and set yourself up with an insurance agency that treats you right. Greg Kurtenbach, an exceptional State Farm agent.
So that's kind of with that. When that's done, then they get a shop in our Hope store. And this is what's so neat.
This is pretty cool. You showed this
It is so neat. I just love it. I love it. We have 3 volunteers that's their focus, is to keep that Hope store fresh and new clothes coming, and organized through the seasons and everything like that. And I mean, they just do a remarkable job at that. But anyway, the girls, when they come for their appointments, they earn Hope credits. And these Hope credits help them to get the items in our Hope store. So, they come for their appointment, they're on time, they stay off their phone, they bring their homework sheet in, they've set a goal, they've accomplished a goal. Now, I don't even know what else, but just options like that, that's how they earn their credits.
And then
so
they use those credits
it's not hard, but they do have to apply themselves, right? Then they use those credits in our store. So say she comes in for an appointment and man, she just checked off the list. She was rocking that week of what she got accomplished. So she earned 10 credits for the visit that day. So she has 10 credits to spend in the store. Well, she can get 2 dozen diapers. She can get wipes, formula. She can get 4 onesies for 1 credit. She can get a brand new car seat, a stroller for 12 credits, so she might have to do a couple appointments till she can get those bigger items, but it's no cost to her, and so it's remarkable because when a client starts coming, by the time the baby's here, she shouldn't have a want for anything. She should have it all. What a great way for a new life to begin, that the mom has everything she needs for that baby. Now that can only happen because of our donors that donate.
I was just going to ask, how do you pay for all this?
Yeah. So we don't. There might be every now and then where we have to go and purchase an item because we don't have it here, and it's like, wow, she needs it right away. But we have donors that say, hey, put this into whatever needs, whatever you need at the center. If you need supplies, for mom, if you need supplies to run the office, that type of thing. And so that's no problem. But our donors, we'll put out there, hey, we have a client that's in need of a bassinet. Right now, we have somebody in need of a travel bassinet. I had never heard of a travel bassinet before.
Me neither.
But anyway, the reason she needs that is her bedroom is a real small space. So a crib won't fit in there. And actually, a regular pack and play won't fit in there. But a little travel bassinet will fit in there for right now, as she hopes then to get into a bigger place, right? So we need that. We're probably going to have to go in and purchase that. But what we do is we put our requests out on our Facebook page, in newsletter, whatever. We'll put a request out. We have a client in need of this. And I'm telling you what, Paul, people just step up. People are so good, and they want to help. And I mean, it's just, there will be times even where we haven't even put the request out, and all of a sudden somebody's knocking on the door. Hey, I've got a mattress for you. It's like, wow, God,
so cool.
It is it's just great. It's just great. So they can get clothes, and like I said, clothes, crib, car seat, baby baths, diapers, formula, body wash, I mean, just all that kind of stuff for their little one.
Can anyone bring anything in here, can anyone be a donor?
Yes.
So I could come to your door and be like, hey, I have this sweet crib.
Yes.
I don't need it anymore.
Yep.
Could you give it to a good home one day?
Yeah, for sure. Now, we are picky on what we have, or what we get in for, I guess, for more of like the equipment and that type of thing, but for clothes. The reason is we're speaking value into the girls, right? So your actions have to work with your words.
I think I know where you're going here.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're speaking value into the girls of her worthiness and all that kind of stuff, but then you're just like, well, here we have some clothes that you earn with your credits and the buttons don't snap or there's stains on them or rips or something like that. Sure. Okay, that's not speaking value to them, right? And so we want to have the items in the store that are gently used or new, because that speaks value to them. Right. It's like if I want to walk into a department store, or go to a garage sale. Nothing wrong with garage sales, right? But there is a difference. There is a difference there. And when the girls walk into our Hope store, no matter what they've spoken on out front, in their appointment, whether it was, learning the lesson, or maybe they were sharing about some of the abuse they've had and they don't want to put that onto their child. That was their childhood, and they want their child to have a different childhood. We want them to come into the Hope store, and it just thrills her heart that, wow, I can get this for my baby. It even makes them fall in love with their baby all the more, right? It's like when I'm shopping for my grandkids. Before I just had a little granddaughter born in January and a little grandson born in March, right? So we didn't know what my granddaughter, we didn't know that she was going to be a little girl. So, and you're there shopping, it's like, oh, what can I get? What can I eat? It's a boy or girl, whatever, and so you get something of each, right? Then my little grandson, I have a little grandson, and I'm shopping thinking, oh, he's going to look so handsome in this. I hadn't met him yet, but gosh, I love him. You're already
in love with him.
So in love with him. So likewise, our clients, they're like, wow, somebody donated this. This stroller doesn't even look like it's been used, and I don't have to pay a penny for it,
That just drives home the idea that they are cared for, that people care for them and they want the best for them. People they don't even hands know down. Care about them and want the best for them. That's beautiful.
And now they acknowledge that, they do. They know the center, our doors are only open because of people that support us.
Right. I think that's incredible that there are so many, that you can do this, that you have enough people in the area that are so generous that this whole ship can not sink.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And the girls know it, and they're just like, and they'll comment every now and then, just that, man, just to have the center open and to be able to have the supplies and be able to know that, hey, we've got prayer warriors praying on your specific request. But it's just full circle. It just wraps around them.
Have you ever had a donor, donate so much or do something so crazy for your organization that you're like, whoa, like, yes. Can you think of a memory where you've just been floored by someone's generosity?
Yeah. So, was it maybe a couple months ago, if that, we had somebody pull up with a trailer. Wow. We had items. I don't know how many of us were trying to unload it, and we had items in our back room all the way up our hallway in my office, and it's just like, look at all this. Look at all, and right away our hearts are just like, how many clients, who's this going to help? This, we needed that, and that's going to help this girl. And we're just blown away by it.
Organizations like this just get me fired up. I absolutely love it. You guys are doing just the most good. It's great. And something that's I am a man of numbers. I like doing my research and learning some stats and stuff, leading research on things like this, especially on issues that I'm passionate about. Did you know, you probably did, like you're actually in this field, that there are far more pregnancy research centers in even the state of Illinois, I believe, in America, than there are abortion clinics.
Right.
And that might not be a well-known statistic, but it's the case. And for whatever reason, it might not be well-known. Maybe people don't like to put that out there in the media. Right. But that gives me a lot of hope. Yes. There are far more centers like this than there are abortion centers.
Right.
Again, not to absolutely demonize abortion or anything. I
Sure.
don't mean to do that.
Right.
I just mean that there's a lot of people who care about women who are experiencing
without a
unexpected
doubt.
pregnancies. And
Yeah.
that gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And I just love what you guys do
Yeah.
here. And I
Yeah.
want to ask, did you feel at some point called to this position? How did you wind up doing what you do?
Sure. Yeah, so that's it's a long story. It's a neat story. It's a God story.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it already.
Yeah. So, some things changed up for my husband and I with our jobs. And so I kind of had to step out of what I was doing and go into a sales job.
What
and
were
it
you
was
doing
demanding.
before that?
So we had a tarp shop in Fairbury. And that was once owned by my family. And then when my father passed away, we sold it. So then I was back there. I didn't have a job, so I went to work there and loved it. I just, I'm a country girl, farm girl. So I loved, dealing with the semis and grain wagons and boats and all that. Get a little dirty, Mm-hmm. My background is actually communications and sales. And so when some things changed for my husband and his job, I had to kind of step up a little bit, I guess you'd say, into what I could bring into our family for income. And so I went back out in sales, back out on the road. And it was intense. I'd had a 5-state territory I was traveling. I did all the outside sales in my territory, and then I was doing sales, inside sales, so receiving calls and doing inside sales. So I'd leave home Monday morning and wouldn't get home till Friday night. Saturday, I was no good, pretty much sleep. Sunday, I'm preparing for all my sales calls for the next week. And I was thankful that God provided that position. Mm-hmm. Looking back, I can see a lot of good things from that because of preparing me for this position. But it was intense and it was very hard. And
I've heard that sales is just gruesome. You deal with rejection far more than you do with acceptance.
Yes.
And it builds, like you said, it builds resilience like crazy. So maybe that was a good thing
that was a good thing. One of the things I missed from being gone, then I was, maybe missing praise band practice. I'm on the praise team at church. Just stuff with my family and that. And so then you have to be in the mindset, okay, what am I going to do? I'm not going to let myself sink and get into a pit. Okay. So, all right, Lord, I know you're with me, another night in a hotel. I know you're with me. So I just started really digging into Christ, his walk and how he led people, and he was a leader of such love and grace. Mm-hmm. Right. And so when you start digging into that, I was like, this is how I need to continue to grow myself, into being that person. And so anyway, but as the time went on, throughout that year, I would just struggle, and I was like, I can't do this. I feel like I'm dying. I'm away from family, away from all the things. I've got high pressure on, and I did very well, but it was a lot.
Just goes to show that success does not always equal,
No,
fulfillment.
That's correct. And I was like, Lord, please, I praise you for providing for us, but please get me out of this. That's just how I felt. I just felt like I was sinking. And so I get online and I'd start to Google, jobs, and maybe even start filling out an application online. And I just felt like, like God was asking me, do you trust me? Do you trust me? So so I'd stop doing the application, go back to, doing my work, and maybe a month or two would pass, and I'd just be like, man, I'm drowning here, Lord, And so I forget it. I'm going to look up, fill out applications. And again, do you trust me? Mm-hmm. So it was about 11 months into that position. And Jill McCullough came to me. She's one of my best friends and on the board here at the center. And she said, hey, a director's position is opened up at the pregnancy center, and you just keep coming to my heart on that. I don't know anything about the I knew of the pregnancy center, but I didn't know about, how does a pregnancy center run, And I said, oh, Jill, I don't know. And, another new thing to walk through. And she's like, will you consider it? And she said, I'm going to give you an application. So, okay, so I took the application. The first few pages are the basic application. And then a question comes to, what is your relationship with Christ? Who is Jesus to you? And I just sat back on that, and started writing things out, and praying and just thinking of who he's been in my life, walking, care. I've known him since I was a little child. I know of Christ since I was a little child, raised in church, and sing Sunday school songs and all that good stuff, and then at 19, I finally was like, Lord, I need you to be my Lord and Savior. Forgive me of my sins, and then walking that life since I was 19 with him. And anyway, to put down on paper, everybody should do that at some point. Grab a tablet, and who is Jesus to you? What does he mean? What's your relationship like with him? It's eye-opening. And I put my pen down when I was done, and I felt like I heard him say, now you go.
We are brought to you by Forest Edge Tree Service. If you have trees or tree stumps on your property that you want gone, go nowhere else but Livingston County's premier tree service provider, Forest Edge Tree Service. This winter has been tough on all of our trees, and it's definitely caused tons of lasting damage. All it takes now is a little strong wind to lead to downed trees, limbs, and power lines, potentially resulting in massive damage to your homes, cars, and properties. Face it, your yard is no place for looming, dead, or damaged trees. It's just a matter of time before one comes down, and whether by your choice or not. This is precisely why you need to be a responsible adult and hire the services of Forest Edge Tree Service. Simply give Joe Rudin a call or text at 815-615-3037 to get a free quote today and prevent the property damage, financial distress, and all the other bad stuff that comes with unplanned down trees. Take care of the problem before it's a problem. Forest Edge Tree Service is staffed with trained professionals who use cutting-edge equipment to get the job done right every time. But if somehow, by some 1 in a million chance, something went wrong, they are fully insured, so hiring their services is truly risk-free. These experienced pros take pride in their attention to detail, in their cleanup, and in their relationships with customers, which is why they are Livingston County's premier tree service provider. Keep your family, pets, vehicles, and neighbors safe and save yourself a world of headaches when you call or text Forest Edge Tree Service at 815-615-3037 to get those dangerous, looming, dead, troublesome accidents waiting to happen off of your property. That's Forest Edge Tree Service. Call or text them at 815-615-3037.
It's like I almost knew that this is where I was going to be before it was actually offered.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm not saying that out of any, what would you say, cockiness. I'm just saying that I knew God was with me through that year of, demanding job. Mm-hmm. And I knew he was preparing me by knowing him more. And he was preparing the place for me to be.
I love what you're saying. You said you don't want to sound cocky. Yeah. I almost wonder if cockiness in your faith is a good thing. It's like, look, I am so sure that God's got me covered here. Yeah. And it's funny because in the Bible, of course, he says, ask and you shall receive. Just like you asked, God, deliver me from this job to somewhere that's more meaningful, fulfilling for me, that my mental health is better and stuff.
Sure.
It's funny how, and it freaks me out personally, just how true this is, that you ask and you will receive, but you don't receive on God or on your time. You receive on God's time.
On his time. And it's not always our time, the time that we want it to be.
Not at all.
Not at all. It's like, I was wanting that about 6 months ago, Lord, Mm-hmm. But it is the right time, mm-hmm. And then to be able to sit and visit with the board of directors and them have been in prayer of who they were bringing into the position. That brings comfort too, And so, that's how I came on board about 5 years ago now. I've been the director here at the center. Well, what's so neat is the center has had I'm the 7th director. Mm-hmm. I'm here at the Hope Pregnancy Center. So Hope Pregnancy Center, we're going to be celebrating 35 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
35 years. And I still run into people in the community who's like, what? What's Hope Pregnancy Center? Like, you've got to be
Which is
kidding
exactly
me.
why we're doing this episode, Larky,
Yes,
because I
yes.
didn't know about it, honestly, and I'm like,
Right.
more people need to know about this.
Oh, for
This is
sure.
an incredible organization.
Oh, for sure. Oh, it's a remarkable place, place. But anyway, so it started in 1986. You know, a group of people got together and they saw a need. Hey, there are, you know, young girls who are, you know, find themselves in an unexpected pregnancy, and we need a place for them to go. You know, somebody to walk by them, you know, and love them, whatever. And in fact, one of the ladies that was a part of that is downstairs. She's a receptionist right now this morning with us, Judy DeWald. And just love her, Mama Judy, you know. Just love having her in here and her wisdom, and just seeing what her obedience and God's faithfulness was to bring this about, and 35 years later is still here. You know, they started in the basement of Bernardi's, you know, and saw 18 clients that first year.
In the whole year.
Oh my
gosh.
You know, I mean, something new just getting going.
Yeah.
And over the years, it's built up. You know, everything was done by paper, right? You know, no computers, you know,
right.
So on the system that we have currently goes back to 2012. Okay, so looking at that, since 2012, we've served 428 clients. Okay, and we have had almost 4,400 visits. Now, what a visit?
Oh my word!
What a visit is when the girl comes for her appointment and completes her appointment. Then it's recorded as a completed visit. Now, we're only open 3 days a week, and in the past it was 2 days. Sometimes 3. So when you look at over the, you know, since 2012 till now, we've seen just shy of 4,400. We've had over 4,400 visits. Then you back up, you know, for the 20 years before that, 25 years before that, you know, and maybe 2,000 to 4,000 visits there, you know. In 35 years, you know, we're around 8,000 visits, 8,000 times. What that means is somebody's walked in our door and has been loved and been helped. What? Man, that's what life's about. Right?
That's what life's about. It really is.
Yeah. And then to get a phone call from somebody that says, I came to the pregnancy center when it was Crisis Pregnancy Center when it started, because it was like, okay, let's focus on the girls that are facing crisis pregnancies. You know, what are we going to do with this? You know, they're in crisis. And then it went to Caring Pregnancy Center, and then then it became Hope Pregnancy Center.
Yeah.
You know, we've had people that have called or even have donated and said, you know what, when it was Crisis Pregnancy Center, I came to you guys. Or when it was Caring Pregnancy Center, you guys helped me with this. What a testimony is that, right? And now they're giving back. You know, they're donating, or, you know, telling somebody else about us or whatever, you know. So it's really neat how that circles around.
Absolutely. And I actually want to go back to something really quick that I didn't get a straight up answer on, because we started talking about other things. So obviously this is a very Christian organization. People come in, but you are sure to give them all the information that they need about the 3 options of parenting, or of that you can, in regards to becoming pregnant. You can be a parent, you can raise them yourself, you can give up your child for adoption, or you can have an abortion.
Correct.
I want to know, how do you go about telling them about the abortion part?
Okay, so we want to make sure that they know what their bodies will be going through with an abortion, that they know what the procedure is. And depending on where they are in their pregnancy is going to determine what type of procedure is that they have done. What we want to do is have them be educated on the decision they're making and know what to expect. You know, are they taking a pill and it's going to be, you know, that direction? Are they going in, you know, and there's going to be instruments used to... would you mind, you feel free to reject. Could I press you a little further? I don't mean to make this like some gruesome episode. It's like how these are different methods of terminating a pregnancy. That's kind of a euphemism. That's kind of saying something in nicer terms than what it is. The pill is an early form, correct? Yes.
And then later stages, it's instruments used.
That's correct. That's correct.
How do you end a life with an instrument?
And that, I tell you,
it's heavy stuff.
If people wanted to see that, you can Google anything nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can Google.
Yeah, the mere fact that we're hesitant to talk about it kind of speaks to the gravity of the procedure itself. I'll say it, it's gruesome.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it. If you're considering an abortion, if you look that stuff up, that might be enough to dissuade you from doing it.
Right. I would, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would think so. I don't know. I can't speak for the girl that's facing that. Right.
And maybe I should be a little more sensitive about this.
Well, and maybe she doesn't. Maybe she doesn't want to look it up. Maybe she doesn't. That. Mm-hmm. But we want to make sure that, hey, we want you to know. We want you to know what you will go through, because what kind of person? That's a way to love somebody too. To let them know what to expect, instead of having them be blindsided by something. They might be like, well, I had a friend or somebody, or I've seen on TV where you have abortion, it's no big deal. That might not be, that's not the case. They may say it's no big deal, but there's physical effects from that.
Mm-hmm.
There certainly is emotional, and without a doubt, there's spiritual, And so that's why we have the postpartum, that we can walk along with them for healing in that, and loving them through that. But the abortion process, it is not a pretty process.
No,
it's not.
I've spoken with a woman, of course she'll remain nameless, but she was a great person, but she had an abortion before. And even 3 years after the fact, she told me, this is the worst decision she's ever made.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was the decision she felt she had to make, that it was the mature decision. But gosh, you can make that decision, but later on, the emotional toll is going to weigh on you, because once you start thinking about what exactly happened, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Very much so, and especially if you don't have support around you.
My gosh,
a church family or something like that, where you're carrying that yourself. That's where there's a lot of people that would go into maybe alcohol or something like that to help numb the pain. Or self-harm. That's done, just trying to find some way to numb the pain of a decision that they made. Now, what I would love for them to come in our door and just say, you don't have to do that. You don't have to turn to drugs and alcohol, and you don't have to turn to self-harm. But if you turn into the arms of Jesus, that'll take your pain. He'll carry your pain. And so, and there's people out there, Abby Johnson, I'm sure everybody's probably heard of her. She worked at an abortion abortion clinic, and she left that industry when her eyes were just open, like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm assisting in breaking the parts of breaking a baby apart literally in the womb. And then making sure that we've got all the parts sitting in the tray before we let her leave,
Yep.
Melissa Oden, we had her here to speak a few years back at our banquet. She's an abortion survivor.
She herself survived the abortion.
Survived. So Melissa had survived in her mother's womb when they had put saline solution into her, and that should have aborted her. And she was 5 days soaking in that solution before her mom gave birth to her, and her mom didn't realize that she lived. It's a big story, but the grandma had overseen and did not let the mom know that the baby had survived. And a nurse saw that the baby was laying there in the pan and still alive.
Holy
And the
crap.
nurse ran her to the intensive care, and they saved her life. And now she speaks nationwide. It's a remarkable story. And then it comes around to a neat story of healing, because then she ended up meeting her birth mom and got a relationship with her, because that birth mom didn't want to have an abortion, and she didn't know the baby lived. Mm-hmm. So what healing for Melissa, on that, knowing that, why did somebody not want me and they tried to kill me right? To being thankful that a guardian angel, a nurse, saved her life, to then her mom being like, I didn't want to have that abortion. I've lived with that guilt and shame my whole life because my mother didn't tell me the baby survived. To now meeting her daughter and being able to have a relationship. Phenomenal, right? So
that's a story there.
There's so much, but Paul, it just gets back to what can we do for a girl that walks into our center? Mm-hmm. And it's meet her where she's at. Look at her situation, provide our educational material, our material items, our community resources, provide listening ear and loving heart, and set her up to win.
Something that, so like I said, this is an issue. Abortion's a topic that I'm pretty passionate about. Mm-hmm. I've had a good number of people literally scream at me like, you just care that the baby gets born. You don't care about the life after that. Yeah. And no pro-lifers care about the life after that post-birth.
Yeah.
But you guys,
not true.
You guys actually help after the baby is born.
Oh my goodness, that's where our program takes off. I mean, the program excels after that. And I got to tell you, man, I wish the person that said that to you, I wish we'd say, you know what, let's go over and talk with Sarah at the pregnancy center, because this whole COVID thing, that's been different, hard on all angles. But when you ask any of my staff members, one of the things that we miss so much are the children. Mm-hmm. Seriously, the mama, we are walking with that mom through her pregnancy. We're in love with this baby too, and we're awesome. Walking with her through that pregnancy. And we've even had a mom and her husband and the dad leave the hospital with the newborn baby and come to the center. We were the first place and first people to see that baby. They wanted to have us see the baby before they went home. No kidding. Hospital tags on their hands and everything. Wow. How neat is that? Yeah. And we love those little ones, and then when, we try to have some toys and stuff for the children to play with while mom's, in her appointment. Mm-hmm. And, or a lot of times, they want to climb up on the coach's lap, or all of a sudden I'll hear a little pitter patter down the hallway. And I look up from my desk and here's a little one peeking in, you just feel like your grandma to, 80 babies or, I don't know. It's just, but you love them and care for them. And so yeah, anybody that says that, I so disagree. And just ask that you wouldn't speak that, on something that you are unaware of.
Right.
Because, now our items that we have for the children, we carry up to size 2T. Within our program. One, we don't have space, mm-hmm. to have a humongous, we're not a department store, right?
Right.
So we don't have the space. But if somebody's in need, a mom's in need and says, hey, I have a 5-year-old and I'm having trouble finding shoes or getting shoes, Once and Again is right here. And Tracy is remarkable, helping mm-hmm. us out. She has such a heart for our clients and she doesn't want them to be in need any more than we do. But so we do try to help with that, with some extra things. But what we have here in the center is just up to 2T. But we love those children. Mm-hmm.
We are brought to you by Connections of Fairview Haven. COVID-19 is a crazy thing, and while a lot of us younger folks aren't too worried about it, those of us who are more at risk, namely the elderly and otherwise immune compromised, definitely are worried about it. They, or perhaps you, are trying to limit social interactions and keep public exposure to a minimum. Some of us also just have a hard time moving around. These circumstances can all obviously make everyday tasks like getting groceries, picking up medication, going to the salon, and running basic errands pretty darn hard and stressful to do. And that's where my friends at Connections of Fairview Haven come in. Connections of Fairview Haven is a licensed home service agency. Their team provides tons of different non-medical services for you, all in the comfort and safety of your own home. They will literally come to you or your loved one's place of residence and help with any services that you or they may need, like running errands, meal preparation, transportation, assistance with bathing, medication, medication reminders, skin, oral and hair care, and even just friendly conversation. They've also partnered with some local businesses to provide other services like therapy, yard work, home repairs, etc. They've got you covered on all fronts. Connections of Fairview Haven takes all the worry out of daily living and empowers you to continue to live an abundant life your way. This program is servicing Livingston County, Iroquois County, and Ford County, and they can start working for you right now with as little as one phone call to 815-692-6703. Fairview Haven is an incredible place, and this new service agency is remarkable as well. Connections of Fairview Haven. They're putting the gold back into the golden years. You have women come in here who are in a wide variety of different circumstances. Mm-hmm. Some of them more negative than others. Have you had anyone come in that's maybe gotten pregnant by means of rape or something negative like that?
And rape or incest?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, that gets to be a tough thing for me to answer, as we are confidential. All of our appointments are confidential. We have had some very serious cases, though. We have had some things that seem sickening, and heartbreaking. But being able to pour into them now, when it gets beyond where it's deep like that, right? That takes more than what we have to offer or can offer. Mm-hmm. And so we have other resources that we set a girl up for, some deeper counseling, one-on-one to kind of walk through some of the issues that has led her to our door, and to help her. So, it's really heartbreaking to say, because we want to block it off. We're from a small town, right? We're in Pontiac, or we're in Fairbury or Chenoa, whatever, that stuff doesn't happen here. But I'm here to tell you it does.
Absolutely.
Because there's brokenness in the world, but Christ came to save the broken, right? But it does. I know the first year when I started at the center, there was a gal that came in, and from hearing her story, from the time she was 3 years old and up, it was nothing but abuse, all kinds of abuse, Then she's pregnant. Then she miscarriages. Then she's been through the gamut at what, 20 years old maybe?
Holy moly!
I remember, of course, I was new. Staff didn't really know me real well yet. It was a different staff than what we have now. Volunteers base was a little bit different. And I didn't want them to see the effects that it had on me because, after all, I'm leader here, right? Mm-hmm. And so I gotta step out for a minute. And I got in my car and I drove out in the country, pulled over and threw up. Because it broke my heart that this beautiful gal sitting there had to endure so much. And I wasn't used to hearing that, Not that you ever get used to some of the things that we have, but I guess that first few initial ones of, wow, how can this be? How can somebody do that? Why don't they just walk away if they're upset, or just why isn't somebody protecting this little girl, And so that was, hard to deal with. And so I think immediately the love that I had for her, because she didn't really know what love was. And so it was just like, one of the things I feel like God brought me to the center was to bring love. Because sometimes you just need that, you need somebody that puts their arms around you and means it,
Yeah.
And she's a good mama. She's moved away now, married, and I'm proud of her. Every now and then she calls me, every now and then she'll call me. And I love it when she calls, and it's just, but it's hard, we've had to take clients over to the Law and Justice Center to get protection upon them from their abuser. I've literally walked clients down to the police department to get them off to a safe house. We have put clients up in a hotel overnight till we can get a train ticket or a bus ticket or an airline ticket away from a bad situation and back to family or somewhere that they can be. We've had clients that lived in their car and didn't have food, and so we started trying to gather some items here at the center, that dry goods, but at least it would get them through for a little bit until they can go to the food pantry the next day or what have you. We've been with clients that have lost their baby through miscarriage, or a baby that passed away from SIDS,
which is sudden infant death
syndrome. And that was heartbreaking for us to watch mom and dad go through that, and for us, because we love that little baby too, right? Mm-hmm. One thing that's so neat is, whatever it is, we have churches in the area, the community, that support us. And for us to be able to reach out to a church and say, hey, this is a situation, that church step up and say, hey, we'll have the funeral here. We'll provide a meal for the family. Everybody works together, and if we all work together, then we can make a great impact in somebody's life, And so we're thankful for the churches. I guess that goes into another thing. We're thankful for the churches that support us, pray with us, for us, that are just a phone call away if we need something. We're really thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, literally, thank God for this organization and organizations like Hope Pregnancy Center, because I think of that 20-year-old girl who was just tortured basically throughout her life. Mm-hmm. And where would she have gone had you not been here? You can hope and pray that she would have a friend that would be so bold and knowledgeable to do what you did, but unlikely. Yeah. So thank God for this organization that did what you did in just her life, and probably plenty of other lives as well. And then you just can't deny, you believe what you want, but the things that Christ-loving and Christ-believing people do because of their love for Christ, that churches do, it's just incredible. The things that a Christian philosophy and Christian beliefs can lead a group of people to do is just astonishing. Regardless of what you believe, it's incredible.
Yeah, and when you feel pressed to do it, when that Holy Spirit's telling you, make that phone call or buy some groceries or volunteer at the pregnancy center or whatever, be obedient and do it, because the blessing is just above and beyond. Yeah. There's such blessing in helping others, and so do it. Go for it, dig in, get your hands dirty, let your whole heart be vulnerable to make an impact in somebody's life for Christ,
I've heard someone say, kind of explain this way, and I really liked it. We've all heard, if today you hear his voice, harden not your heart. And you can interpret that in different ways, but the way I've heard it interpreted is, if you hear that voice in your head telling you to do something, the Holy Spirit, you could say, if you feel that moving you and you stiffen up, you harden up, and you don't move, you don't let it move you, you're hardening your heart. Yeah. If today you hear his voice, harden not your heart. Let it move you. Go where it's telling you to go. Because it can only speak so loud sometimes. A lot of times it's undeniably loud, though, the Holy Spirit talking to you. Go, have the guts to go where it's telling you to go, where God's telling you to go. Yeah. And I was going to ask, one of my final questions was going to be, what's one of the most hard, difficult parts about doing what you do? But it seems like you pretty well answered that. Just dealing with the girl like you just spoke about, it's got to be hard. But
this morning, I was able to share with the staff, we have a little baby that was born a couple days ago and had to be taken to St. Francis, and not in really good health, right? A lot of things going on. And we prayed for this little one, and Mama, of course, and put it out to our prayer partners, please, immediate prayer for this little baby, wisdom for the medical staff and all of that. And this morning we got news that there's been a turn for the good.
Whoa.
Turn for the good.
I saw you posted it on Facebook. I actually said a 10-second prayer when I saw that.
I mean, the importance of that when we put something out, that is the immediate. That's a here and now. Hey, this needs prayer, right now. And so what a praise. Baby's still not out of the woods, right? But making such great steps that it's just like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. In the same token, then I get a phone call this morning before the center was even open. And it was a mom calling in wanting to know about the pregnancy center because she has a 17-year-old daughter who's pregnant. And, for probably 20 minutes, I listened to this mom and she just cried.
Yeah.
But to be able to say, here's how we can help, not only the daughter and with the baby, with the pregnancy now, but even the mom, to hear her cry and just, gosh, it just tore my heart, right? Just tears your heartstrings. And, I just such a, I want to give you my cell phone. You call me if you need to talk, not that I have the answers by any means. But my heart just went to her, In closing, I know you want to get ready to wrap this up here. It's like 60, 90 minutes talking with you. Oh, man, there's no way.
This is okay. This is fine.
But now there's so much to share.
I just want to say, you're so sympathetic and empathetic. It just further drives home the idea that you are in the right position right now. It's incredible.
For such a time as this, right? Yeah. But anyway, I guess I look at it, a lot of people think that doing missionary work or pouring into a ministry really needs to be something away, out of the United States. And there's definitely good at that. There's, I have friends, there's people I know that are missionaries and man, I just can't imagine that lifestyle, being in another country away from family and just all that. And I even have been on mission trip, I was in Nicaragua probably 8 years ago. But it's as fresh as it was just a few years back, I've seen that. I've seen mamas and pregnant moms and, living in dumps and the children. And that was, I came back different without a doubt from that. But I have to tell you, you don't have to go to Nicaragua to be missionary. You just need to open your eyes because there is so much. I'm not even talking about pregnant young moms that are pregnant and what we do. I'm just in all areas of things, hungry, homeless, abused, all of that brokenness, that is in our world is across our street. And it was an eye-opener to me when I came to the center. I didn't realize that there'd be that many young girls coming in the door.
It's insane.
Seeking help.
Yeah.
I mean, our prayer is that this place could be closed down, that we don't need it, but yet our prayer is thankful that we can be here, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But it's right here. And we have clients that fall into every description I just gave you. All of a sudden they're pregnant. They don't have food at home. They don't have a home. They've been abused. They're currently being abused. All of that is right here. Yeah.
Something I just want to say, I just feel like I want to say this, is the young girls that get pregnant, it's so easy to see it as anything but a blessing, as such a horrible negative thing.
Right.
Because it came before you were ready, right?
Sure.
At the same time, though, rejoice because you have a child.
Yeah.
A child's the best gift. You don't know how much you can love until you have a child.
Oh, and they do.
Yeah.
They do. I mean, you have kind of all the tough stuff and stuff that I've shared, but they do, and they want to be good moms, and and they love their little ones. They do. Sometimes they might come in a little dirty.
Yeah.
but they do. They love it. Now, what's hard, and I got to tell you this, what's hard is when, they come in and now they're pregnant again. Mm-hmm. And because we're thankful that they're choosing life, but it's just like, oh, I guess what I want for them, what the center wants for them so much is that they can be in a strong, loving relationship, married relationship, and that they have things in place so some of the circumstances around them aren't as tough. Mm-hmm. They have a job and they have just different things in order, kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like, it's like, oh, I'm so glad that they've chose life, but oh man, we're just really hoping that some things would have gotten put into place,
yes.
So it wouldn't be so hard for her, and but yeah, and they got grin from ear to ear, and guess what I'm expecting, but we love them, and it is a gift from God, and so we just keep pouring them into them that way. Love it. Last thing here. Yeah.
What is the most rewarding part about doing what you do? That might be a tough question.
That is tough. I guess seeing all the different facets of this ministry, one, seeing the girls come into the center and watching them grow throughout the time that they come for their appointments, and seeing new life and the babies, seeing them grab hold. And knowing that we are making a difference.
It's got to be so rewarding.
That is. Another thing is the staff that I have and the volunteers. To be around women that are just, they have such a love for the Lord and a desire to use their gifts and talents, maybe even their brokenness, to pour into somebody else. It's just such a testimony. It's like when you see somebody get baptized, mm-hmm. You go back to, man, I remember when I was baptized, and you just rejoice. You're just so happy with that. And I feel like that as I watch the staff, I watch them and the volunteers, I watch them pour into the clients. That's amazing. Another aspect then is the people that donate again, their hearts. They're never going to meet, probably not going to meet the mom and the baby who they're helping face to face. They probably won't have that because of, confidence and all that.
Right.
But their hearts to help somebody that they don't know and will never meet. Huge.
That's got to be so great to witness.
And then hearts for people to know it takes a lot to have our doors open, our lights on. Mm-hmm. We have 4 staff members. Takes a lot to run this, but people they believe in the ministry and they're here, so our doors can be open 35 years. Wow. And counting.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having this conversation with me. This was deeply moving. It got me fired up, and this was just a great conversation, so thank you so much for coming on. It means an awful lot to me.
Sure, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me share.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Paul Garcia Show. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on YouTube or like us on Facebook. If you would like to contribute to the production of this show financially, you can do so by becoming a patron on patreon.com/Paul Garcia or by donating on Venmo to The Paul Garcia Show. Until next Sunday, I'm Paul Garcia. Thanks for listening to The Paul Garcia Show. God bless and have a great week.